Attention, you are now listening to a Final Level podcast with Ice-T
and Mick Benzo.
If you are offended by words like shit, fuck, ass, low motherfucker, whatever,
stop this podcast now.
And by the way,
this is the hardest podcast on earth. Hey, yo, what's up? This is Ice-T.
And Mick Benzo.
And you're listening to Final Level Podcast number 52. And this is the hardest podcast on earth. Jack.
Hey, yo, it's like 52, like a deck of cards with no jokers in it, though. You know what I mean?
No jokers.
No jokers. And we don't come up here and play games. We don't bullshit. We don't talk about people. And we tell the real, and we bring the real people out when we do speak about it.
We definitely do. We want to thank everybody who've been listeners. Make sure you hit subscribe button on whatever format you're listening to this podcast so it'll come directly to your phone.
They got to go to iTunes. It can only be subscribed on iTunes.
Okay, go to
iTunes, hit subscription, and it's FREE. That means it's free for you, okay?
And nothing
don't cost you a dime. Don't cost you a dime.
Nothing in this world is free. You know, even if a girl tell you she giving you some free pussy, the bitch want a sandwich later.
Oh, she want to go to movies.
She gonna want
she want to go to movies.
She wants something. So nothing is free. Don't get it fucked up. Don't get it fucked up. You don't get her a cab, you gonna get the police called on you. SVU's gonna come through. But anyway, all the people that responded to our last week podcast with the Flatbush Zombies.
That shit was dope.
We want to send respect back to you. Flatbush is out on tour. They offered to give me some acid and get me high. I don't really get high. I don't smoke weed. I don't do anything. But I have experimented with like ecstasy.
Oh, you did ecstasy?
Man, ecstasy had my dick hard as Chinese arithmetic. You dig? So, I mean, I fucked up. But I'm not, I don't like the feeling of being high. But I was willing, under the correct supervision, to do a little mushrooms or something. Maybe I write an album or some shit off that, or a paint like Salvador Dali, do some melody.
Well, they got some new shit for that, though, man. Y'all watch that program on CBS called Limitless? The guy takes a pill and becomes a fake pill. No, they got one now, though. They have one.
Adderall?
They got right now, yeah. Make you smart in the motherfucker.
Nah, she'll make you smart.
You tried it?
Makes you think you smart. See, being smart and thinking you smart is two different things. Like, you don't need a fucking pill that makes you think you can drive fast because you're going to wreck. You need something that really makes it happen. But anyway, peace to the Flatbush Zombies.
Yeah, respect.
All the Just Say No people, don't trip on me. Oh, you shouldn't be promoting. I'm not promoting LSD. I just said I want to try it.
Hey,
get
that's
over
good.
It.
That's a good
Fuck
one.
It. In house, I would have you there, and don't let me drive.
Right.
Don't let me near my bank account, and I have you with a stun gun.
With a stun gun, in
I
case
start
you act
whining,
up.
stun my black ass, put me back to sleep. But Flatbush Zombies was in the building. But on the way here, we just passed April Fool's Day. Mickey tells me this story. We get in the car, come to do the podcast. Tell me this fucking story.
All right, I was up early today. I didn't have nothing to do, so I called my boy George, right, out in L.A., right?
My manager.
I called George. I said, yo, G, man, what's going on, man? He said, Mick, did you hear about the prank that the man pulled on his woman on April 1st? I said, what prank? He said, the prank where he actually acting as he was going to marry her and gave her a ring, but inside the ring, when she opened up the box, it says April Fool, and she shot him. She actually killed her man.
Over that prank?
Over the prank, yeah, man.
So Mickey gets in the car and he tells me this story. I'm going over to George Washington Bridge. I'm like, pull that shit up. Because Mickey is he got stories. He tells me all the time. I'm like, show it to me on the internet. Now, what happened when you read it?
After I read it, it appeared that it was a prank and April Fool's on me. So I called George and said, yo, you trying to make me look real funny style up there, man. Come on, you're giving me news that ain't news, man. George, that wasn't no news.
And the moral of the story is everything that's on the internet is the truth, right?
Nah, hell no. No way.
When you hear something on the internet, check, double check it.
And triple check it.
Fact check it. All right. Now today,
I have to talk about the championship game, man.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Why don't we let our guests talk about it? Let's introduce our guests and we can bring them in.
Oh, yeah, because we got a ball player in the building, too. He's a ball player, man. He had a record company. I mean, he's been around the world and he can see over the tall buildings. He is at a single bound, the tallest man I know, too, you know what I mean?
And
but he came with one of my friends that's on Sirius XM, better known as Cutman LG, so I'm going to give Cutman LG up first, though. My nigga Cutman LG is in the fucking building, B.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good,
It's a
man.
beautiful thing to be up here with y'all, man.
Yeah,
now,
man.
Cutman, we know you from Sirius. I mean, what you guys are on? What's the name of the show?
Well, I'm Backspin Radio, baby.
Backspin Radio, Zulu Beats.
Zulu
right.
Beats.
Exactly.
8 years.
But give him a little breakdown of your career, LG.
Yeah, L, what you been doing and what have you done?
Oh, man, listen, let's take it back. Started out with Bambaataa.
Okay, correct.
Back in 87,
Mm-hmm.
he produced a record with Arthur Baker on Arthur Baker's label called Dance to the Drums with his cousin called
That was
Harmony.
on Street Rise Records?
No, Criminal Records.
Criminal Records.
What a name for a label.
Criminal Records. Did he pay y'all?
I never got
Did
a
he pay
royalty until this day.
They were criminal.
There you go. Okay.
So we moved on. I moved on from that. Hooked up with my cousin Paz, Positive K. Got up with
You talking
Island
about the guy
Records.
that got a man?
I got a man.
Wow.
Now that's your blood cousin?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Yes. Paz K. We did I Got a Man. From I Got a Man, we did his album. I did his album, Skill to Pay the Bills. From that, went on to Hot 97 with Mickey and Bam. From there, we went
Hey,
on
didn't
to...
you do the Beavis and Butthead thing, though?
Yeah. Oh, fuck all that bullshit.
That was good. Yeah, that was good. That was
Fuck that
good.
bullshit.
I see the plaque on your wall.
Oh, that's nice, too.
All right.
We
now.
got Beavis and Butthead fans out there.
Shit,
don't we?
man.
Well, hey, man, hey.
I'm a fan of Beavis and Butthead.
Cutman LG.
Those motherfuckers was crazy.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers was really
What
crazy.
did you actually do with Beavis and Butthead? What was
Well,
that?
me and Nile Rodgers did a song called, I don't remember the fucking name of the song, man, to be honest with you, but we did a song with Positive K, and she was hot. I mean, it was hot, you know. One of the writers that does all the voices, he actually rapped on the track with Paz.
How was he?
Terrible. Fucking terrible.
Well, that means you're a good producer. You found the pocket some kind of way.
It was a pleasure working with Nile Rodgers now. That's
Also, my man, did you work with a gentleman, I think his name was Jay-Z or A-Z?
AZ.
Okay.
AZ from Harlem.
Okay.
132 Mob Style. I work with
The word in the street is you did something with a guy named Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, shit. I think Puffy trying to get at me.
Rest in peace.
He wants those vocals.
You did a record with Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, he wants those vocals. Those are those 16 bars that no one ever heard.
Okay.
Oh, you still got him?
Yes, I do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Some money.
Yeah.
Puffy, get at me, baby.
Some money.
Puffy, get at me. Cutman LG.
LG,
Cut a check, baby.
Explain how this happened with you and Big.
Well, it was a song called Nine Dogs. You know, we had 9 rappers on it. We had Pooba, we had Positive, we had Snaggerpuss, we had Biggie on it, and everybody came together and put this track together. You know what I'm saying? Dropped these vocals. After that, the rest was history. The song never came out because it was supposed to be an album along with it. London Records never put up the rest of the bread, and vocals. I held on to the vocals.
You
and
work
there
with
it is.
You work with Brand Nubians?
Yes, Grand Pooba. I did 2 songs on their first album, All for One.
Was that on Strong City Records?
No, that was on Elektra Records.
Yeah, but an unheard studio track by Notorious B.I.G, that's like, you know, the holy grail of hip hop. You know, everybody, I think they done pulled every Tupac vocal. Some Tupac vocals were done in my house. You know,
At the Crack House?
at the Crack House.
At the Crack House.
But
And we ain't talking about no goddamn dope.
those vocals ended up coming out. They've been on some of Tupac's material, but you know, people record all over the place, and that's crazy. Yeah, Puffy, make a call to the podcast.
I'm telling you, man, the Cutman LG from Zulu Beats, man, Sirius XM, and he's right here at the podcast with Mick, Benzo, and Ice-T.
I got
he
it, baby.
got vocal.
I got
Okay.
vocals and I have his ad libs
Oh shit!
on a 2-inch.
Oh, there you
Reel.
go. Ooh, and it ain't for hostage, but this is all business. We just telling you the truth.
Cut the check, baby.
And also in the building, we got one of the flyest niggas I ever met in hip hop. I met him back in the day with Jazzy J. They had a label called Strong City Records, and this is Rocky.
Yeah, that was up in the
Buchanan.
Bronx. Rocky Buchanan had a joint up in the
What's
Bronx.
up, Ice?
What's going on, Big Rock?
What up, Mick?
Oh, man. I want to talk about sports, though, because Rocky's
No,
here, man. Nah, I got
wait.
to, man.
But no, can we get a little background on Rocky so the people know who's
He
talking?
just knows a tall, light-skinned motherfucker, man.
No, but Rock, you always was like with Jazzy, but what's your connection to the whole hip hop scene? Because were you ever MC?
I wasn't an MC. I was a DJ.
Okay.
So my roots goes back to the very beginnings of hip hop. You know, I basically started as a DJ as a young teenager.
Where's that? Co-op City?
Not in the Valley.
Okay, well say that.
Yep, in the Valley, up in the northeast section of the Bronx. My cousin is Pete DJ Jones, and he's the guy that gave me
Rest in peace.
Yep, Pete was one of the top mobile DJs here in New York City. He was actually number one. You heard his name on WBLS all the time. And as a young kid, I used to just follow him into the clubs. I used to actually be in the nightclubs at 15 years old. And you ain't supposed to be in the nightclubs at 15 years old. So he gave me my first shot, which was at the Stardust Ballroom up in the Bronx. And I remember, playing on his set. You know, I'm a young 16, 17-year-old kid playing on his big-ass mobile sound system in the Stardust Ballroom and having older people than me, you know, in their 30s, 40s dancing to the music. And I just looked and said, yo, man, I could do this. You know, I could be a DJ. And then I got my own break and became the house DJ at the Stardust Ballroom, opening up, groups would come in there like Blue Magic, the Fatback Band, the Moments, the Delphonics, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You know, so it was at the end of the disco and the beginning of hip hop was when I got my first start. And then I became a club promoter and then a concert promoter, working with M. Morton Hall, and helping M. Morton Hall just put up posters and billboards all over. M. Morton Hall at that time was the promoter in New York City. He did the Beacon Theater, he did Avery Fisher Hall, the small theater in the Garden was called the Felt Forum back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been around the music scene for a long, long time.
Now, when I met you, you were with Jazzy J. How did that happen?
Yeah, so I had a record company before Strong City with a partner of mine named Milton LaCroix, and we had a small little label called EMLO. We only put out one record. It was on Masters of Ceremony. The song was called Crime. It was produced by Teddy Riley. It was Teddy Riley's first recorded record.
Okay, Masters of Ceremony and Brand Nubians, I get confused with the different people that were in the groups.
Well, the Masters of Ceremony was Don Barron, Grand Puba, Shabazz, and
Doctor Who.
Okay, and then Brand Nubians.
From Neuro.
Brand Nubians, Grand Puba, Lord Jamal, and Sadat X.
So that's what it is. Grand Puba is the one that was in both groups, and that's why it merges in my brain.
Along with the DJ Alamo.
So, Masters of Ceremony was great. The Crime record was a good record because it allowed Grand Puba and Teddy Riley really to showcase their talent. That was their first recorded music. And I ran into Jazzy, and Jazzy was just coming off the Def Jam things. He did, he did It's Yours. He did Tila Rock. And then he did
It's Yours.
And then he did the Def Jam, which was Def Jam's first record.
Right.
Before
with him and Russell.
Mm-hmm. And he was unhappy. So he basically said, yo, man, these guys over here not really doing me right. I want to do my own thing. I'm like, well, shoot, let's do our own thing. I'm ready to do it too. I got Masters of Ceremony. Why don't we, put your talent, your studio talent. He had his own studio. We went in there and we started cutting some records. So the first song that we cut in his studio was Cracked Out by Masters of Ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually became our first intro into, getting Strong City, cemented as one of those underground New York hip-hop labels. And we became just, really known for doing some underground shit.
Mm-hmm.
We had Masters of Ceremony, we had Busy Bee, we had a young lady, which was, in my opinion, one of the dopest, flyest MCs, female MCs, Ice Cream Tea. And
it's a good name.
Yep.
Ice Cream Tea.
But she was a little bit, she was one of those hard females at that time, and and it was just too hard for that time. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was good. The Strong City thing. We helped develop people. Diamond D came out of our camp. Ultimate
from
Force.
DITC, Digging in the Crates.
Diamond.
Yeah. So he was one of our producers in the lab. LG was one of our producers. And Skef Anselm that worked with Tribe Called Quest. So we developed producers, we developed writers that came out of our camp, and obviously we gave Maxwell a stage. to go from Masters of Ceremony to Brand Nubian. So people don't know that part of the story about Strong City.
Good story.
And it's really one of those stories.
But you worked at another label too, though. What? Then you moved from there and did something else with, I think,
so
group called Illegal. What was that?
Yeah. So after I, kind of like, I left the Strong City family, I started a independent marketing company called Third Rail. And I just started promoting everybody because at that time people were having a hard time getting their records on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And, me and Mick kind of come from that same cloth. We did the college radio thing, and we did all the mix shows. So we're really the first guys that really, revolutionized the whole mix show thing because mix shows didn't exist until we, basically created a scene out there where we can go out and make sure that we take everyone's record and deliver it to the college guys, to the clubs, to the mix show guys, because at that time they were day parting records. If your record made it on commercial radio, it didn't make it throughout the whole day. There was certain segments, morning drive, lunchtime,
and late night.
Yeah, drive time, and then late night.
No, Rocky, I like that because I told people a long time ago, I said I'm definitely one of the first person to start promoting records to colleges because if you remember, there was a Gavin Report, Hits Report, CMJ, and what I did is I told the labels, look, if these guys report your record, what you do is send them free records, and what they'll do is they'll come up with a column for hip-hop, and they will put you in their top 10 records, like the top 10 first #1 ads and this and that. I said, and that will make them work hard if you just give them a free record, giving them free records so they can play, because records were expensive. Yeah. So they would get the record, and they put you in that chart, CMJ Hits or Gavin say you was in the top 10, and that record label started realizing that made a lot of sense because people would look at that and say, oh shit, that record's a #1, that's a #2, so it actually bridged the gap with commercial radio with college.
Hey, so listen, you guys got crazy history. I just wanted to let the podcast listeners know who we got in the house. We got LG, who's got crazy history, and some unheard Biggie Smalls track. Wow.
Yeah.
He's sitting on Hip Hop Gold. And we got Rocky Buchanan, who's helped really spearhead mix shows and spearhead all the promotions that now, I don't even know if they're extinct now, but what you guys used to do for radio. But we're about to talk about other things right now, and then we're going to get back into why you guys are here. Rocky, how tall are you?
6'8". Been 6'8" for a long time, brother.
He's sick. I've been trying to get there. I've been doing everything I can to grow.
Rocky was 6'8" when he was 19.
So Rocky,
that's actually true.
So Rocky can talk. He can talk basketball with you, right?
Oh yeah, he got to, because he got 2 kids too. They're not Cubs. See, Biggs. I got Mr. Biggs. He got Cubs. You got babies. He got Cubs. Biggs got real bears. You got babies.
Yeah.
So Bill with him about this Final Four. Mickey was over my house and we watched the first 2 games of the Final Four.
Amazing games.
Oh boy.
Villanova
wasn't
smacked Oklahoma.
Yeah, they did a great job on them.
By 40 points.
Smacked
40 points, yeah. That was crazy.
When you get beat by 40 fucking points,
the heart just comes out of you.
It's ridiculous.
You don't even want to play.
That's 20 baskets.
That was ridiculous. Monday they had the championship game against Villanova in North Carolina.
Wait. Villa what?
Villanova, bro.
Villanova.
You say it, motherfucker. Shit, it's the Mictionary. It's the Mictionary, man. Villanova.
Anytime Mickey says a word that's not
Villanova,
real, we just say Mictionary.
It's the Villanova. He wants to be the Villanova. It's the Villanovas, whatever. But Villanova and the Tar Heels. Villanovas, man. And the North Carolina Tar Heels, man. So I saw my man Michael Jordan out there, sitting out there, and it was good. I said, Rocky got to be watching this. I mean, what do you think about that game, Rocky? Before I even get into it, what do you think about that game?
That's one of the best games in probably NCAA basketball history because they were going back and forth, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, North Carolina, Bryce Johnson, he's a beast, man. He's going to be a serious pro. That kid got some real hops.
No, Page is nice. And Barry is nasty.
Yeah, Barry.
They were handling their business, but at the end of the game, I had a bet with Busy B, no money, but I said, the Chief Rocket Busy B. I told him, you know what? North Carolina's going to tear their ass out the frame. It didn't happen.
I went with
4 minutes,
right.
And about 7 seconds. There's a kid called, I think, Chris Jenkins.
You know his brother was playing on the other side?
Yep. That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah,
Moms was in the audience, right? She had a shirt with Chris Jenkins and
She couldn't lose.
his brother name is Nate Britt. Nate Britt is his brother in North Carolina.
Yep, Nate
Mommy had on Nate Britt in the back and Chris in the front. North Carolina in the front.
She didn't know
Villanova.
She had the best bet, right?
She couldn't lose.
She couldn't lose.
Now he call it Nova.
Yeah, Villanova, man. Villanova.
There you go.
There it is, man. But you know, it's a mixture. I have a mictionary. You know why? Why do you have to have a Webster dictionary to tell you the right pronunciation? I pronounce it my fucking way. Villanovas.
Ah, you a funny dude.
Nah, but that was a hell of a game, man.
Yeah, man.
You saw Jordan crying, right?
Nah, I didn't see that, but listen, man. Just think about this.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina's down 3,
Yeah. Ooh.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Time's running out on the clock on their possession. Kid takes an off balance, kind of like 1 foot jumping, 3-point shot that goes in, and they're thinking like, okay,
Overtime.
We're gonna survive. It's going to overtime.
Yeah.
Right.
Timeout. My guy, the coach of Villanova, basically says, "All right, we're gonna run our play. This is a play that they run all the time.
A design play.
It's called the read. Basically, Chris Jenkins takes the ball out. He gives it to Ryan, the point guard,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Ryan's job to just push the ball up the court because there's only 4-point-something seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to push that ball up the court, and the wings got to spread out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a choice. Either he's going to take the shot or he's got to look for one of his guys that's going to be open. As he's running down the court, Chris Jenkins is trailing behind him, saying, Ryan,
Give me the ball.
he's like, yo, I got to take this last shot. That's confidence, man. A lot of kids don't want to take that last shot because if you miss it,
Right. Yeah.
you know, everybody's been like, oh, man, I should have took that shot, man. Why'd I pass you the ball?
Right.
But
You the butt of the day. It's
right.
over.
So Ryan passes this kid the ball, and he says when he takes that 1-2 step, it's cash.
Yeah. But his brother said that's like a layup to Chris. That's what Nate said. He said that's physically a layup to him because he does that all the time.
He's one
But
of the,
under pressure.
Yeah, but
like
I said,
that,
but to me,
yeah.
I said, damn, this nigga's big like Shaq, man. He can't make that shot, man. You're not supposed to make that. You ain't in nowhere near the paint, man. You're way away from the. You're in a 5-point shot, not a 3-point, man.
Right, yeah,
and he made it.
he made it. I mean, and when he made it, just the joy that he had and the confidence, man. He just stuck his hands out like, yo, man, I'm God
I did it.
right
I
now.
did it. Hey, anybody?
That might be one of the greatest shots he'll ever make. You know, because
He got another year, right, Rock?
It's that's one of
It's
those
a
shots.
historic
Yeah,
shot.
it's never going to go away. That's part of history, man. It's cemented in history.
Yeah, he's good with that.
You know, so
Until he
you
gets to the NBA and he meets Steph Curry and he just starts throwing shit in. Like, this nigga can bounce the ball in.
he's got another year, but he's going into the draft, man.
Are they gonna pick him before?
They're going. Yeah, he's out. There's no doubt about it. He's cash money right
But
now.
but a question I asked you is, did you see Michael Jordan crying?
I did not.
And I'm gonna tell you why he was crying.
Why was he crying, Mickey?
Because he bet a lot of fucking money on North Carolina and lost.
But he got a lot of money. You know, Michael Jordan ain't crying. That nigga selling underwear, man. He's all right.
Hanes.
That nigga,
shit hurt it.
that motherfucker got so much money, man. You know, we used to say in the streets, he's through with money. You know, there's a point where money no longer exists. You just want shit and it happens. The nigga say, I want 10 Bugattis, they pop up. He don't need, he's in another channel where money does no longer exist.
All right, that's cool. But now we gotta give some praises to my man Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
Got to give that man some praises, bro.
Yeah, he's one of the best point guards of all time. You know, unfortunately for him, you know, I think he just got, you know, blackballed. You know, you know, because people just couldn't vibe with it. You know,
He's ahead of his time.
yeah, his swagger. You know, I mean,
But he's going to the Hall of Fame, baby.
Yeah, God bless
He's
him.
going to the Hall
He
of
has a
Fame,
dope
baby.
documentary on Netflix.
Yeah. What's it
Yeah.
called?
Iverson.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson, baby.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that.
yeah, it's dope.
Big up Allen Iverson.
AI.
And one last thing before we go into this interview and stuff. Today they had the memorial service for Phife Dawg up in Harlem, up at the Apollo Theater. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it. I was at work and, you know, things collide. And you guys had got a chance to pass through there?
Yes.
What was that scene like?
Awesome. You know, I mean, the house was full. It was basically a memorial for Phife. So all the hip hop royalty, we saw Bust in the House. Muhammad and the Zulu Nation was deep with Zulu Warriors, and security was deep. But basically just everybody just coming there to pay tribute to Phife and his contribution to hip hop and everything that he meant.
I think that was very huge to do it at the
Apollo
Theater.
It was huge.
Oh, that place was packed, jam packed.
Yeah, good luck for him.
Yeah.
So we just want to send from the Final Level podcast. We joke and we play a lot, but on a serious note, this is sending out condolences to Phife, his family, the entire Tribe Called Quest family, anybody remotely connected to the brother. I knew him personally, nothing but love. And, it was a very sad day, and we're going to live with his memories dear to us. 45 years old. That's too early to go. God bless Phife Dawg. Rest in peace, homie. Okay, back to the Final Level podcast. What number is this, Mick?
Number 52, baby, like a deck of cards with no jokers. And we got my man Rocky in the building and my man Cutman LG. And today, me and Ice can sit with Rocky Buchanan and Cutman LG to talk about something we're trying to establish and get done in the Boogie Down Bronx in New York City.
Well, it's happening. It's
happening. But Rocky got to bring that in because Rocky came up with this idea, and Rocky has been carrying this thing on his back for a long time, and he's asking a few people, just do me a favor and take a little one of these pegs off my back because it's getting very heavy. And he's tall. He's tall as a motherfucker, but the shit getting heavy.
Break it down, Rock. Tell him what you're doing.
So we started a project 3 years ago called the Universal Hip Hop Museum. As you know, Ice, hip hop has been around for over 40 plus years, and it's just a shame that there isn't a...
Let's give it the right number. It's 42 years that hip hop has been in existence.
42 years. And it's just a shame that we don't have a cultural arts and education institution museum dedicated to the preservation and protection of hip hop.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable almost. If you think about the power and influence of hip hop around the world, you would think that there'd be a building dedicated to the culture, and there isn't one. I mean, you got schools and universities dedicating small archives and collections like the Cornell University hip hop collection, hip hop archives. You got Harvard University, and you got other small Smithsonian. But if you think about it, they're only dedicating to a small piece of it.
Yes,
so
sir.
You may have some Ice-T stuff in there. You may have some Public Enemy stuff. You may have some LL Cool J or whatever. But, no disrespect to what they're trying to do, but that's not hip-hop. That's only a small mirror, a small window.
A few people.
Hip-hop is so large. If you take it back from before the 70s to the early influences, the Gil Scott-Herons, the Sonia Sanchez,
the
last poets. Hip-hop is rooted so far beyond what the kids even realize is hip-hop. The kids growing up today don't even know the Crash Crew. They don't know Kool Moe Dee. They don't know Busy Bee. They don't know Wild Style, the movie. They don't know Breaking'. They don't know any of these things that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right?
Well, I'm in some type of what's the museum they have in Cleveland, in Cincinnati or someplace? It's a rock and roll museum.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The Rock and Roll Hall. Where's that?
In Cleveland.
In Cleveland.
But that's the point that we're trying to make, Ice. Is you're saying you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, but we have nothing for hip hop. And a lot of time what Rocky's trying to say is the rappers that are rapping today don't even know there was rappers in the Bronx that were rapping.
But see,
because they didn't do no history on it.
This is my point. It's not even about the rappers. It's more about the fans. It's
Correct.
Rappers, it's like I could get into jazz and I don't know who Dizzy Gillespie was. I don't know who Miles Davis was. Okay, that's my business. But there's people outside, just fans, that really love it and really do the knowledge, and they know it all. So, hey, if the rappers don't want to go to the museum, let's not deny the kids and the fans and the mothers that grew up off of this music and stuff. And I absolutely, totally agree there should be a place. And what I was saying, the Rock and Roll Museum, I have had people contact me saying, I saw your display in that museum. And that's a good feeling, you know, because one day you'll be gone.
Right.
And just to be in that museum, it's like, wow, people. It also gives it the educational value too. It takes it from just some street shit to something that really is art. And that, like when we did the art of rap, that my whole concept was, this is an art form. Why do you guys keep calling it, you know, want to call it just some bullshit? This is real art. So I think when you guys create this museum and bring it in on not only a musical but an intellectual level, it'll give hip hop what it deserves.
That is exactly it. You know, museums are all about documenting historical facts, right? You know, that's what museums do. You know, it's not just about preserving artifacts and memorabilia and stuff like that. It's really about the study of the culture. So documenting, you know, the contributors, the style, the creativity, the artistic work that went into it, the timelines, all the news and events that was happening as hip-hop was evolving. All that is the purpose of a museum, to document all those different elements.
You know the cool thing about the new museums, like if you go to the Museum of Art, you wear headphones.
Right.
And as you step in front of the exhibit, there's somebody that'll tell you what you're watching. Could you imagine a hip-hop museum where when you stood in front of an exhibit, you actually hear the music and you actually can go from one picture to the next?
Well, that's good you say that, because Rocky Buchanan, Cutman LG, and myself, because I know about it, and I know you're a part of it as well. We got something called a virtual museum where you can see that. And
okay.
Yeah, they have that. I'm gonna let Rock take this up though.
We're kind of like rolling this project out, you know, in advance of having a brick and mortar, right? You know, because a brick and mortar takes a lot of capital and it takes a lot of work. You got to mobilize so many different people. You got to get the state behind you. It's a public-private project that can't be done by itself. It can't be done by just Ice-T's bank account, right? You got to get the city behind it. You got to get the state. You got to get philanthropists behind it. You got to get corporate sponsors. You got to get many different people behind the building and funding of a big ass brick and mortar. So, you know, what we did basically.
Just hypothetically, something like this, to actually get it off the ground, not how much it would. First, how much it would cost to get it up, and then how much would it cost to maintain it yearly?
So, you know, to
do it right.
To do it right, you know, for example, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Experience Music Project, both of those things cost somewhere about $80 million to build.
I got you.
And that was 10, 15 years ago. Right? Now, we're not building something as big as that, but hip-hop deserves something as big as that.
But see, when you said, I wanted you to say that number because that gets you past, oh, Puffy should do it, Jay-Z should do it. Now, this is a serious endeavor that nobody is supposed to bankroll themselves. It's something that it's got to be done correctly with the right contributor. I understand. Now, how much a year does it cost to run, or does it generate money once it's up?
Well, it does generate money, you know, because you have, you know, admissions, you know, for tickets. You have membership. You have corporate sponsors. And museums also have other programming. So we'll have pop-up exhibits that will travel around the country and generate money. And we'll be doing other things. You know, we have our eyes on a much larger scale of doing things. I don't want to reveal it today. But, you know, it's more than just a museum. Hip-hop is a living, breathing culture. And this museum has to be representative of that living, breathing organism. You know, we can't just be a static thing where people come and see photos on the wall, you know, because, you know, hip-hop is always evolving, always changing. You know, so we have to create educational programming for schools, you know, we want to publish books for, you know, for the guys like, you know, our pioneers and icons. We want to give them another career path. Because, you know, they got skills, you know, as writers, they could write stories. They got stories that should be published.
Absolutely.
The museum should be behind those efforts to help bring our pioneers' work and their body of art to a whole new audience through other means.
Just to interject, when you say that writing books, it makes a lot of sense because after the movie The Art of Rap, Grandmaster Caz got a book because of his writing skills of how he writes rhymes. And that's true. That they need an outlet like that. I just want to bring that to the attention too.
The beauty of the museum is it's taking the whole culture and turning it into what it is. It was a revolutionary movement that really changed the world and has continued to change the world, and it deserves a museum, and these people deserve to be remembered correctly, and so people could study them. I mean, people always come to me, they go, why is you on Law and Order? You've been on Law and Order. Why you call yourself Ice-T? Why haven't you changed your name? I'm like, I'm hip-hop. It's like, why is Queen Latifah, LL? Because I want people to see me on television and be like, why is he Ice-T? Oh, he's a rapper. Well, I don't like rappers. Well, you like him. I wanted people to understand the growth.
Correct.
That if it wasn't for rap, I wouldn't be on TV. So I'm not going to ever turn my back on hip hop.
Right.
So, when you see this is a film actor and he calls himself Ice-T or LL Cool J, or why is she Queen Latifah?
Right.
That's our way of saying, although we've transcended into other things, we're still keeping it,
to the roots of what you started, man.
Common, because we know without that chance, and hip hop was my foot out of trouble. It was my chance to get out of that, that hole we all started out in the ghetto. And it's so important. And so where do we go to get this thing funded and what about, I don't see why the government wouldn't be involved in helping this. This is a very important and good cause.
Well, it's funny because, you got government has to get involved first and foremost. There's no doubt about it. First, when you put a museum in an area like the South Bronx, just think about the global business that's going to be in that community. People from all around the world coming to the South Bronx, spending dollars at the local restaurants, the local stores. It's going to help transform that community.
But you know what it is, Rock? I bet a lot of the politicians still look at hip-hop as gutter music, and the museum is just going to be, they don't give it the respect it deserves.
I can't say that because some of those politicians in our neighborhood came from hip-hop. I'm not saying no names. You know and you know.
Yep.
A lot of them came from hip-hop and hung with us, and now they are, I don't want to put that out there neither, but we know what they don't look at it like that.
No. I'm not saying they don't, but the money, the people. All right, look, when you have a big museum, say a museum of art, well, you're coming from art, and those philanthropists that are involved with that, those are wealthy people.
Absolutely.
That, are intellectuals. So now we say we want to put hip hop in the Bronx. You almost have to prove that there's going to be money coming there. Now, of course. Come on, I've been eating at Sylvia's for how long? And you see the tour buses that pull up outside in Harlem just to have some authentic, soul food. You dig? So the fact that the buses won't be lining up to come up to Bronx to see this, but I think you have to get that through some of the people's heads that this is.
Well, this is the reason that we're on the platform of Ice-T and Mick Benzo podcast and talking to Rocky so he can get it out to a lot more people that might not hear it. And they will spread the word. That's the purpose of talking about the Universal Hip Hop Museum. You're right. We have to not enforce them, but let them know that this is real.
All you need is homeboy from Facebook to say, I like it. Let's call it the Universal Hip Hop Museum.
Facebook.
You know what? And Facebook's Universal Hip Hop. You know what? We're cool with that.
We are cool with that.
We're cool with that because
it's called naming rights.
It's called naming rights. Bankroll it. Why don't Nike do it? Nike got enough money off of us buying sneakers and stuff like that. This is a great place for some big corporation to connect themselves to it.
This is the best project for corporate sponsors who have benefited from hip-hop throughout the years.
Always talking about giving back. This is a way to give back.
Right. Adidas,
Puma,
Kango, Sprite, Coca-Cola, Ford, Cadillac, Mercedes-Benz, Rolex. All of these companies benefited from hip-hop.
Cheerios.
I can't think of any company.
Smith & Wesson. No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I got jokes, people.
Listen, at the end of the day, Ice, it's like this. We're creating something for everybody. Hip-hop is the most popular art form in the entire world. And we're not just talking about rap, because as we know, hip-hop is more than just the rap side of it. There's 5 elements. Mick, tell them what the 5 elements are.
There's breakdancing, there's graffiti, I'm looking at you, L, baby.
I know him.
I'm counting, baby. I'm
There's
counting.
MCing, there's DJing.
And the fifth element is the knowledge.
It's
There you go,
knowledge,
brother,
bro.
baby.
It's knowledge. That's number 5. But like we said, no.
And I was telling somebody the 5 elements, and they said, well, how is knowledge one? I'd say that a person that watches baseball, that knows all the stats, is just as much as a player as the people in the game. So there's people that have never done the DJ. They never DJ. They never done graffiti. They've never broke dance. They never rap. But they know more about hip-hop.
Mm-hmm. That's knowledge.
Than people that are in the game.
That's education.
They're the hip hop scholars.
And they're the fifth element.
It is.
Yep. And, look, we got different generations of hip hop.
Absolutely.
Right? So you got the first generation, people from the 70s. You got
pre-records.
Yeah, pre-records. And you got the second generation, the golden era. You got the third generation. And now we're into the fourth generation.
We're about the 10th, Rock. We're about the 10th now. It starts because I called it, I thought, well, I mean, the way I counted it, I said the pre records, right?
Right.
So that would be, name some of those groups.
All the pre-groups would be like Grandmaster, Grand Wizard Theodore, and the L Brothers.
Crash Crews.
Crash Crew, they made one record.
They made
right?
records.
Yeah.
Tapes.
DJ
Hollywood.
Yeah, DJ Hollywood. Kool Herc.
Right.
Right. He never made a record, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, so you got those guys, and then you got the guys, that came out, the Sugar Hill Gang.
Okay, so that's the second generation. Now we got, those are the people that made those records, like Mel and all them. They came and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then you got the next generation, which was the Fat Boys and Houdini. That's after Def Jam, bro. Right. So I'm like fourth generation. I came with Public Enemy, Eric B. and Rakim, EPMD, Positive K. We came on that generation. Mm-hmm. And it's just flipping itself over and over and over again. Now you say, I got broads in Atlanta. Panna. So I don't know what homie's saying. I'm
all the way up.
That's Joe. I'm all the way up.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
Yeah. But it's still hip hop.
It's still hip hop. Listen. It is what it is, but the main thing is, just imagine if we don't have a building that's going to protect our legacies.
Yes, sir.
We're leaving it up to somebody else to document our history. Mm-hmm. So, and you know what happens when that happens.
Right.
It's not told.
They put themselves in it first.
Right. You start from chapter 12 as opposed to starting from the book from chapter 1.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's what my mission is to make sure that our history is protected. And we're not just talking about the history that started here in the South Bronx or in New York City or even in America, because hip-hop is a global culture now.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about preserving the entire global culture, because people have to, and you got people in Spain and Africa and Israel and
Brazil. They can rap.
I just want to ask you a
Mexico,
question. Do you got
Japan?
people in Japan right now that's interested in doing something with the Universal Hip Hop Museum?
We do.
Let's just show that it's not just in the States. Let's take it to other countries.
Yeah, so we got Naya Coca and her group in Japan. We got Ndaba Mandela, Nelson Mandela's grandson. He's actually vice chairman of the museum.
And where he from?
He's in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
We got DJ Frisk and his crew out there in Italy. We got Raquel Delgado, who's our Spanish ambassador. She's out there in Barcelona. She's on the internet every day talking about the Universal Hip Hop Museum. We got people in France, Germany, and we got Martin Askham, who's one of the artists that you probably know his work. He's got your colorful stuff, and he does it.
Oh yeah, Askham. He's on Twitter.
Yeah, he's on Twitter.
Yeah,
and he's in London, and he's a big supporter of the museum. So we have collectors, we got scholars, we got promoters, we got a whole family of people that are behind the project. Now we just have to get capitalized. We just got to get funded.
Okay, so right now you're on the podcast, Final Level. There's lots of people out there, and we got to reach. People listen to this all over the world. How can anyone this might be the first time they ever heard about this, give us some contacts. Like, how can they reach you guys? Or reach us, because I'm on the board.
Yeah, you are on the board. Mm-hmm. So first thing is they can go to our website, which is www.uhhm.org. So uhhm.org.
Universal Hip Hop Museum. UHHM.org.
So that's the first way. And then the second way is really just they could go to info@uhhm.org, or they can email me or Mickey or you, Ice, or Cutman LG, who's the secretary.
You talking. Give out your email.
So my email, people, is rocky@uhhm.org.
ROCKY, just like the movie, baby. Okay, at uhhm.org. And calling, and you know, I'm getting CC'd all the emails, and it's conversations all day. My whole inbox is filled up with universal hip hop.
Rocky.
I mean, they're coming in, but I'm seeing, you know, when you sat down today, I told you I was watching, and now you know I've been watching. I've been reading the stuff. Curtis Blow has really gotten deep into this.
Yeah.
Curtis Blow is 100% heavily involved.
This is what I'm saying.
You know, I mean, not only is he, you know, performing and coming to our events, he's actually even given up some of his own personal money to help fund.
Yeah, he's donated.
Donated some money.
Are there any other rappers in there? I mean, I want the audience to know. You know, I know. I'm just asking. Is Big Daddy Kane in?
Big Daddy Kane's, you know, on our advisory board. Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony on our advisory board.
Ice-T,
and even Q-Tip joined the advisory board.
Oh, beautiful.
You know, so but you know, it doesn't stop there. We got so many people who are not on, who need to be on,
that don't even know about it.
Don't know about it, but they may know about it. Maybe they're just sitting on the sidelines. Unfortunately, Ice, you know, which is one of our problems that we got to figure out how to overcome. Is people just like, you know, they're skeptical. You know, a lot of skepticism out there. People's like, you know, this is a good idea, but can it really get done?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you get involved, it's going to really get done. You know, so we need those people to stop being skeptics and say, this is the project that everybody needs to be behind. And once we have the Chuck D's, the Ice Cubes, the Dr. Dre's, the Russell Simmons, the Diddy's involved, and we're not talking they got to be monetarily involved.
You're just connected
to it, you know, because they know, just like you know.
Well, Puffy's gonna show up to hear them Biggie bars.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we get him down with the museum.
Absolutely.
A trade-off.
You know,
exactly.
But we have so many things. Like Sha Rock is she's the, you know, first lady of hip hop. You know, first female.
Funky 4+1.
Funky 4+1. So you know, we brought Sha Rock on, and now she's the chairperson of the Women of Hip Hop Committee. So we're forming little committees because as a museum, there's so many different endeavors and so many different causes that we have to, you know, get behind. We got to have the preservation committee, the development committee. So we need a bunch of people to get involved, you know, because it just can't be the five of us pushing this big ass museum forward.
Yeah, well, the thing of it is, like with me, like I'm like about as close as you're going to get to the root of California or Southern California, West Coast hip hop, being one of the first people that actually started rapping out there. So basically LA was just the Syndicate, my organization, and then NWA and who they became as they branched out, and then Delicious Vinyl. But then if you go to the Bay, where Too Short is, that's an entirely different group of people that I had no jurisdiction over.
Right.
So you have to talk to the E40s, you got to talk to the Spice Ones and the Too Shorts up there, because Too Short's like the godfather of the Bay. So all these different regions started to break out. Master P, who broke off in his whole
Louisiana.
thing. New Orleans and stuff. And so Miami with Luke.
Yep.
And then it just starts to break out. So when you get to the root of the tree, those people can tell you who, like we always say, I remember you were there. I was, you, or I can say you wasn't there.
Right.
You wasn't there. I don't remember you.
Right.
I don't remember you.
You got Luke down there in Miami, right? 2 Live Crew and the, you know, the whole Miami base. You know, he's like one of the founders of that.
Trick Daddy.
Right. Then you got the Rap-A-Lot crew with the, you know, the Ghetto Boys in Houston. Then you got the people in Cleveland. You got the Chicago people. You got Eminem and his crew. And I mean, you
Detroit.
got all the, you know, the different people. You got Lady B and the whole Philly crew. Then, I mean, hip hop has, you know,
Insane Clown.
Well, we're reaching out to you right here on Ice-T and Mick Benzo Final Podcast number 52 with my man Rocky Buchanan and the Cutman LG. Please listen, tell a friend, and make sure you pass this around. UHHM.org. So that's UHHM.org.
And
check it out.
It's not a valid museum if anyone's excluded. So we need, you know, all these different regions.
I'm looking for Lil Wayne. You know, I mean, you know why? Because my thing is people keep talking about what is rap music, and I said, listen, as long as music is being played on the radio, you playing in your car, you listen to it in the clubs, that means hip hop is still alive. If you have a problem with it, get out there and make a record. Don't act like your parents used to act with you. Allow them to do what they doing. I respect it. Some of that shit I like.
Hot Boys killed shit. Come on, be serious.
Or if you don't like it, change the fucking channel.
That's all.
And music is regional. Different people coming from different times, different places. They sing about different things. But it's all a branch of hip-hop. And if hip-hop was never born, we wouldn't be doing this kind of
And let's show some respect to the Boogie Down Bronx. No disrespect to no other person or any other borough. We are trying to do this because this is the birth of hip-hop in the Boogie Down Bronx, and that's exactly what we want this museum. We don't want it in Midtown. We don't want it in downtown. We don't want it crosstown. We want it in the Bronx. And I think the spot that you have, Rocky, is the birth of the Bronx. Can you elaborate on that?
So the building that we're looking at now is the Bronx Borough Courthouse. I don't know if you know the story, but this is a great story. Check this out. So this particular building, this courthouse, was built in 1914. So before 1914, the Bronx was part of Westchester County. The first official ceremony in this courthouse that we're looking at for the museum was to make the Bronx an official county of New York City. So the borough of the Bronx was born in this courthouse.
Oh, that's cool.
Where we're trying to put the museum in. And the Bronx being born in that courthouse and hip-hop being born in the Bronx is some sort of universal connection that's bringing this whole project together. We're having an architectural design cipher, and we're inviting all of the, hip-hop icons and pioneers from New York City, not just the MCs and the DJs, but also the graffiti writers, the B-boys and the B-girls, to come to this architectural design cipher April 21st through the 23rd at the courthouse. Hopefully, Ice, if you're not busy.
April when?
21st through the 23rd.
Where at?
At the Bronx Borough Courthouse.
Where's that at?
Up in the Boogie Down Bronx.
What's the address?
878 Brook Avenue on 161st Street.
Oh, okay.
And
I know where that.
And 3rd Avenue. And basically, we're inviting everybody to come into the courthouse, and we got 2 of the top hip-hop architects in the world that's going to do like this architectural design cipher where you say, I think this exhibit should be interactive and blah, blah, blah. I want to see this.
Dope.
Like what you said when you walk in front of a picture and then you put on the headphone and it comes to life.
We just got finished dealing with these cats in L.A. that are deep into the virtual reality and stuff. So I could see how to bring virtual reality into this too.
You got to see the Curtis Blow experience that we got. We bought it here for to show it to you tonight.
That's what you got with the virtual reality glasses there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is incredible. I mean, we could go on and on, Rock. I mean, LG, is there anything you want to put in? Because we're going to wrap this up.
We want everybody to go to www.uhhm.org to check out the Universal Hip Hop Museum and this beautiful project that we're working on for the whole world, man. We want everybody to check that out and also come down to the cipher that we're doing.
That's what's up. I mean, I don't think you got to be a genius to understand, I mean, that we need this museum. They have museums dedicated to cars. They have museums dedicated to sharks. They got museums. To think that there's not an official hip-hop museum, like you say, when it's such a global force, which has changed so many lives and has made something so important. I mean, to me, honestly, music is what keeps this world together.
Right.
Everyone tries to break us apart and make us fight and stuff, but music is that one common bond. Mickey tours with me all over the world. White kids, black kids, Asian kids, every race, every religion, they can get off on the same beat. And hip-hop did that. It joined us together, and I think this is a very noble cause you've taken upon. I know it's a headache because hip-hop is a family, but it's a dysfunctional family.
Absolutely.
But I think you're the right man because you were there. It's not much anyone can tell you about it.
Right.
That's like somebody trying to tell me about West Coast rap. I'm like, you really can't tell me about it because I know when Uncle Jam's Army was putting me on the stage and they wouldn't let nobody else rap. I was there. Egyptian Lover. Your name Bobcat? Bobcat was there. I know who was there. But this is a great thing. So one last time, let's give out the connection to your
let me
email.
say, hip-hoppers, hip-hop people, we need your support. Even if you just look at the site and pass it on. You don't have to give up anything. Share it.
Yeah.
Somebody else
Just go
will.
check it out. Go check out the virtual website. Go see what's happening.
And before Rocky give up that UHHM.org, the Art of Rap Festival 2016 will be taking effect starting in July. I'm not telling you the date, but you must be aware. Look out for it. It's only a few dates. July, the Art of Rap Fest will take place. Artists will be announced real soon. Sorry, I had to plug that in.
No, you had to plug that in. And the Art of Rap was my virtual museum. It was me saying this was my tour through my career, and these are the people that I came in contact with, and I wanted to let people know this is what hip-hop meant to us and what it still means to us. Mickey took it off. We had 2 great, huge concerts last year, sold-out concerts.
Beautiful.
And now we're coming back again. How many shows are we doing this year?
We're going to do only 8. We're going to do like 4 weekends only. You know, we're going to do it real small because we want to make sure that it's very boutique. I mean, it's a boutique show, but it's a festival, so you can come out and enjoy yourself. So tell everybody, we're not doing a concert. We have a concept. The Art of Rap Festival will take place. Oh, my goodness. If I could just tell y'all who's going to be on it. Oh, man. You know what? Maybe next time. So, Rocky, where can they see anything about the Universal Hip Hop Museum once again, sir? Because your voice sounds so dope, man.
Thank you. Listen, so come to the Cypher. That's the first thing, because if you want to actually have an input on what the future museum, the home of hip hop,
anybody can come?
Anybody could come.
April 21st?
April 21st through the 23rd. You know.
This month?
Yep. Go April 21st through the 23rd this month at the Bronxborough Courthouse. Come to the Architectural Design Center.
What time they got there? 8 in the morning?
The first thing is 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we have the Women of Hip Hop Gala, the Women of Hip Hop Preservation Committee. They're having a gala at the Alhambra Ballroom in Harlem on June 3rd. Angie Stone is performing.
Oh, no, really?
But all of this information is on the website.
All of it's on the website.
Okay, that's what's up. Hey, Rocky, thanks for coming, man.
Thank you, Ice, for having me, brother.
Everybody out there, blast this podcast out. You know, put it on your page. Let other people listen to it, because this is an important part of our history. Hip-hop needs a museum. I think it should be in the South Bronx. They can have different museums all over the country, but we got to put the first one in the South Bronx. Thanks, LG.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Y'all want to ride out the rest of this podcast? We got one more segment. You with it?
I'm here, baby.
Oh, baby.
Okay, peace. Okay, let's take a break from the show to talk about Audible. Do you love books but find that you never have time to read them? Well, Audible.com has the perfect solution. Get audiobooks and listen to those books you've been meaning to read while you're on the go, at the gym, during your commute. Audible.com provides over 180,000 titles from the leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, entertainers, magazine and newspaper publishers, and business information providers. Their app is free, and it works on iPhones, iPad, Android, and Windows Phone. You can also download and listen on your Kindle Fire and over 500 MP3 players. And unlike a streaming or rental service, with Audible, you own your books, and you can access your books anytime, anywhere, right from your smartphone. Audible.com also has the Great Listen Guarantee. If you decide you don't like the book you choose, no worries. You can exchange any book you aren't happy with for another title, anytime, no questions asked. If you're looking for a great book on Audible, check out Dan Charnar's The Big Payback, which is an excellent history of hip-hop and features a long section on my situation with Cop Killer and Time Warner. I highly recommend it. And, of course, you can always check out my book, Ice, a memoir of gangster life and redemption from South Central to Hollywood. And just for the Final Level podcast listeners, Audible.com is offering a 30-day free trial membership. Go to audible.com/Ice-T and start your free trial today. Again, show your support to Ice-T and the Final Level podcast and get a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Ice-T. Hey, yo, this Final Level podcast number 52 with Ice-T.
And Mick Benzo.
Mickey Benzo in the building, you know, and this is philosophy.
So you're a philosopher?
Yes, I think very deeply.
Every week on the podcast, we try to give you different segments. This one we're going to do is philosophy. Philosophy is brought to you by my Twitter page, which is final level. And one of the favorite daily games was, it's not about how fast you move forward. It's all about not moving backwards. And I always tell people that. I say, just make effort not to step backwards. Don't hustle backwards, Just try to constantly move this project forward. Right. Don't get caught up in speed. You dig what I'm saying? Because sometimes when you get that gradual momentum, you'll look around like, since I came to New York, I had a gradual momentum. I didn't do anything fast. 10, 15 years later, you look around like, damn, you've accomplished a lot. So I think, back in the day, they said slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady forward wins the race. And one thing I always like to tell people, moving forward is difficult. It's very hard. Moving backwards is instantaneous. All you got to do is make one mistake. All you got to do is do one wrong thing, say one wrong statement, and all your hard work goes down the drain.
Absolutely.
So, I always tell people, they go, wow, man, you've worked this hard. I was like, all I got to do is stand up in the middle of this restaurant, throw a glass across the room, hit somebody in the head with it, and I'm in a lawsuit, and I lose everything I fucking ever worked for in my life. So think. That's why when you see people who have accomplished shit, they're very weary. They're very cautious. Why they got bodyguards? Because now, another player told me, once people get their wealth, they spend the rest of the time building walls around it. So, finally, when you finally get somewhere, you really want to protect it. After you build this museum, it's going to be hard to fuck it up, right?
Right.
You better not come fucking after all this work.
Right.
So we don't mind moving forward slow. We're just trying not to move backwards. Try not to move backwards in your life. And if you slide back a little bit, that's okay, but just not too much.
Right.
But keep that forward progression going. Slow and steady will win the race. That's the daily game. It's not about how fast you move forward. It's just about trying not to move backwards. Church. All right, this Final Level Podcast number 52. Mick, Benzo, and Ice motherfucking TZ.
We are finished. Remember, UHHM.org. Check it out.
Check. That's how I'm living. 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 That's how I'm living.